Hey guys.
All right, here we are. It's Wednesday night, February 15th, 2023. We're going to have a class tonight on the topic of cross. Can a person wear a cross? Now, obviously, I don't expect you to go out there and buy a chain with a cross on it and start walking around with it. But the topic has come up among the Hachamim, and we're going to look at it Teshuvah from Hakham Obadiah Yosef. It's in the third volume of Yaaqob, Siman Samach He. And at the end, you'll see a clearer picture, hopefully, as to why this topic came up. שאלה, האדם נכבד שקיבל מהמלכות מדליית זהב בצורת סלב, לאות כבוד, האם מותר לו לענות אותה או להשהותה בביתו וליהנות ממנה? So a person, an honorable person, and he received from the government a gold medal in the shape of a cross or with a cross on it, okay, as an honorary distinguishment. Is it permissible for him to wear it or to even just keep it in his house and to enjoy it? Teshuvah. בשאלות תשובות תרומת הדשן הביא מה שכתב מרדכי בשם רביה שהסלב שתולים הכומרים על בגדיהם אינו אלא לזיכרון ולכן אין לדון אותה כעבודה זרה לאוסרו בהנאה. So Hakham Obadiah Yosef opens up with the Terumat Hadeshin quoting the Mordechai in the name of the Rabbiya, saying what? That the selab, the cross that the priests wear on their clothing is only a zikaron. It's a memorial. It's a sign for somebody, for them to remember something. And therefore you cannot rule on it as if it is a piece of avodah zarah, and you cannot say that it is asur to have any sort of enjoyment or pleasure from it. וכן פסק הרמה בהגהה בזה הלשון. So what did the Rama write? השולחן ערוך. סורה שמשתחווים לה דינה כדין סלם של עבודה זרה ואסורה בהנאה בלי ביטול. אבל סורה שתי וערב שתולים בסבר לזיכרון אלא נקראת סלם ומותרת. So Muram is very clear to us on this. He tells you if you have an image that people bow to, this is something that carries the deen, carries the halacha of a idol, something of avodah zarah, and it's forbidden to have any hana'a, any enjoyment, any pleasure from it whatsoever. But the form of a cross that people wear around their neck, it's only a symbolic issue. It's not something that they worship, and therefore it is not considered a pesil, it's not considered a selim, it's not considered an idol, and it would be mutar. Adkan. That's what we have so far. It seems pretty clear. Like, why are we even continuing this discussion now? ולפי זה נראה שהמדליה שניתנת לאות כבוד, אף על פי שעשויה בצורת סלב, and aliyah din abodat zara muteret. Therefore, it would automatically seem, like we said, that if a person receives an honorary medal in the shape of a cross or that has a cross on it, then there shouldn't be any problem whatsoever, and he could enjoy it because it's not abodat zara. ואין אמת כי הספתי כהן כתב שברי הרמה שהטיסו השתי וערב שנתלי בסבר זהו דווקא כשידוע בוודאי שלא השתחוו לה. אבל כשאין הדבר ידוע, ישתחו שמי השתחוו לה וספק דאורייתא לחומרה. So the Siftei Kohen, the Shach, says that what the Rama wrote is very nice and well, allowing it, but that's only in the case that you know for sure that this cross was never worshipped. It was never bowed down to, if you will, okay? But if you're unsure, we must have this cross in a case of doubt. And if it's a case of doubt, then we're dealing with the issue of the oraita, okay? And say for the issue of worshipping Avodah Zarah would be something that's deoraita, and therefore we have to be mahmir, and therefore we cannot have that shitiva ayda, we cannot have that cross. וכן דעת הגאון רבי שלמה משכלה, בשל שבועות בית שלמה. אולם בימי פרשת דברי הרבייה וכן דברי הרמה משמע שסתם סורת שיטיב הערב שנטלי בסבר עינה העשויה אלא לזיכרון מותרת ואין נחו שמי השתחוו לה. But generally the opinion of the Siftei Kohen has not been accepted, and everybody follows the Rabbayah and the Trumot Addition and the Mordechai and Muram, that we generally consider a cross as something that is not worshipped, and therefore it would be okay because it's not Avodah Zarah. וכן הסביר דברי הרמה בשלושו בתי כהונה ודחת דברי השייך וחוטא בדין זה. אולם גם לדעת השייך יש לומר שמדליית זהב בצורת סלב, שהדבר גלוי וידוע שנעשית אך ורק לאות כבוד בעלמא ואין דרך כנה להשתחוות לה, יש להטיב פשיטה. Another opinion that says that when you're dealing specifically with a medallion, it's crystal clear that a medallion is not made as something that people will be worshipping or bowing down to, and therefore it's pashut that it's mutar to wear. בדומה למה שכתב הרדב"א בחידושיו לעבודה זרה על המשטר, ומעתה אסורו שתיבה ערב שרגילים הגויים לצייר בכלי כסף מותרים, אף על פי שסורה שתיבה ערב בני עבדת להם, בכל מקום הרי אנו יודעים בוודאי שאין הגויים עובדים אותה בכלים, ולא עוד אלא שאין הם עומדים אלא לסורה שתיבה ערב שתימה אותה כך שלהם. Also know that thing, reality is we know what the goyim do, we know what the Christians do, how they worship, and we know they don't worship the cross. But if it's, especially if it's on something, they generally do not do any sort of worshiping to it. But if it's something that's freestanding and it actually has a image, if you will, of said person, okay, that changes the whole concept of the cross. And that's something that they sometimes do actually bow down to, pray to, worship, and the such. And therefore, such a thing would be asur. וזהו טעם ההיתר שאנו משתמשים במטבעות שיש עליהם שתי בערב, לפי שהדבר ברור שאינם נעבדים, ואף על פי שהם כלים מכובדים מותר. So here in the United States, we don't have coins that have crosses on them. But in many foreign countries, European countries, South American countries, you'll find crosses on the coins. So you say, okay, I can't use the coin, I have to throw away my money, I can't handle money. You're allowed to use it because people are not worshiping, the money because of the cross. Maybe they're worshiping money in general, but they're not worshiping the cross on the money. Okay, it's not a form of Avodah Zarah. וכיוצא בזה כתב המאירי. דבר מתחיל הסכימו, שבמקום שידוע שהסורה אינה נעבדת ואין עשייתה אלינוי, אפילו על כלים מכובדים מותר. So therefore, if it's made just as a decoration, even if it's on fancy clothing, it would be mutar, it's permissible. ויש לצרף לזה מה שתדהרן, שאפשר שהיו מסתמה אין עובדים סורות אלו. And the Ran says, we know nowadays nobody worships, these type of images. But they just do it as a remembrance. וכן כתב רבנו ירוחם בשם רבו הרב רבי אברהם בן אסמאעיל. וכיוצא בזה כתב בשל שבועות זרע אמת, חלק ב', שאף על פי שמנהגם להחמיא כדברי השייך, and the zera emet, we know was a great Hakham from Italy, and he says even though we know that either minhag is to be mahmir like the shaykh, the Siftei Kohen, בכל מקום בסלב העשוי מזהב ויהלומים שוודאי נעשה לנוי בעלמא, המנהג פשוט להתיר אף לכתחילה. But if you have a fancy cross that's made out of gold and diamonds, everybody knows it's there for decoration, for decorative purposes, and nobody is using it for religious purposes whatsoever, and therefore the minhag pashut latir. The custom is to be lenient, and even the chetahillah. And there are sources upon which to rely. And it shouldn't be strict like the Batei Kehuna said. In our case, even the Batei Kehuna would be lenient. Abraham, Adam, and Maharashag, Yehuda Ya'aleh Asad, and Kenyan Torah. So Hakham Obadiah Yosef goes on and brings a slew of Hachamim over the course of time that have said the same thing over and over again, and they say it's permissible. But keep in mind, in the mind of the common person, this is something that is always asur. What do you mean, of course? Good so far? Okay. Velo achahed. כי בשלוש שבועות מאורי אור, כתב שיהודים שרוצים לקנות סורה שתי בערב, שנתלית בסבר, יש להזהירם לומר לגוי שישבר אותה תחילה כדי לבטלה מתורת עבודה זרה. הואיל וידוע שהנוצרים נוהגים בהם נישוק ופילול בעת אכילתם וכל משנתם, ובזמן הרמה אפשר שלא נהגו כן. So now we have something totally different that we didn't mention so far. There's a book of Shelot Shavot called Meir, and he writes that Jews that want to buy crosses, okay, to wear on their necks, okay, you have to warn them that when they go to the goy to buy them, tell the goy break off a piece of it, okay? Why? Because maybe in the time of the Ramah, when the Ramah said it's not something that people worship, maybe that was the case. But now we know nowadays, we see the goyim, before they eat, you see they'll kiss it. Before they go to bed, they'll kiss it again. Okay, they do these things. So you have to, basically annul it from being in a state of Avodah Zarah. Have the goy, when you buy from him, break a piece of it on the side, on the bottom, on the top, something.
You're allowed to wear it?
You're allowed to wear it, yeah.
Then you're allowed to wear it.
Yeah. That's what he says. But based upon all the other sources, they weren't concerned with this aspect at all. And as is, brand new one, go buy it and wear it. You can do it. Like I said, well, I'm not telling you to go out and wear it. Okay,
Right.
None of us are interested in doing such a thing. All right, but it's an interesting concept.
Same as clothing?
Mhm.
Clothing also?
What do you mean? You could have it. You could have it on clothing, yes.
Because we one time had a desk clothing, and we had the
No
the whole
problem.
thing, Yeshu and whatever.
That's different. You have him on it too, you say?
No, it's just a cross. It's in something. I forget the name of the Yeshu and something. There was a cross on the back.
Yeah, okay, cross, but okay, let's
Yeah,
continue and then
yeah.
we'll figure that out. ولما بدها حريم الاشلوح الشوز لزين بعد كين بعد كل penny بميدالية she ended up بكاف. And now if we're dealing with a medallion, okay, that people, it's not something that everybody has, and people are not kissing it, to eat or sleep, whatever it is. Even then, yeah, you can allow it. וכן מסרתי להגאון רבי יוסף שאול נתנסון בשואל ומשיב כמה, שנשאל אודות יהודי נכבד שקיבל מהמלך מדליה בסורה שתי בערב, לא אות הוקרה, האם מותר לעונדה והביא דברי הרמה והשח הנ"ל, וכתב שבנידון זה שהמלך נותן המדליה לאות כבוד ומזכרת אהבה למי שמוצא חן בעיניו, אין לחוש שמא ישתחוו לה, ובפרט שענידת המדליה יש בה צורך שהיא מכבודו של המלך. So there was a question asked to Rabbi Nathanson about a person, a Jew, who received from the king a medallion in the shape of a cross. And it was a sign of recognition. Obviously, the guy did something good for the king, and the king wanted to give him the proper kavod and recognition, and he gave him this medallion to wear. So obviously, this is something new from the king. Obviously, it was never used for Avodah Zarah or anything else. And it would be a disgrace if the Jew didn't wear it. Obviously, definitely he could wear it, and you don't have to have any sort of concerns about Avodah Zarah. בהגאון, רבי אברהם פלאצ'י, בשאלות שוות לב חיים, חלק ג' נשאל גם כן בדין זה, והעילה גם הוא להכיר, and also רבי אברהם פלאצ'י. So you see, Sephardic and Ashkenazi, Hachamim and Rabbanim from all around the world have dealt with a similar issue, and they all seem to have allowed it. שאין לחוש שמא השתחוו למדליה, שהרי כל עשייתה היא כדי לכבד בה למי שמוצא חן בעיני המלכות. These are medallions that are made, they're minted and manufactured specifically by the monarchy to be given out as signs of honor and friendship and distinguishment to people, and not as a sign of religion or worship, correct? ואין בה שום ספק של שכל כבוד הזרה. אם לא יסענה להתכבד בה, יש הדבר משום איבה, and if a person doesn't wear it, then it's basically like a slap in the face of the king. What do you mean? I gave you something, you're not going to wear it? And what's wrong? והסתמך בין השאר על דברי הזרע אמת. בשעה הבתי כהונה שהעלה להחמיר בנידונו, יהודה בנידון שלנו שיש להכיר. וסיים, ובכדי שתהיה בידי הלכה ברורה, שלחתי לשאול לשלושה מגדולי הברים של מדינות אירופה, והשיבו אליי דבר, שהמנהג אסלאם לתלות על חלקת צווארם המדליה, אף על פי שיש בה סורת שתי וערב, כי היא עשויה לעינוי ולכבוד המלכות. ובזה נחה דעתי ביותר, שיש לנו לסמוך על הנה אשרי רבי מגדולי דורנו, בכל מקום נראה שאין נכון לענות המדליה, תמיד אלא בעת שנכנס לארמון המלך בסרטו, יסרנה מיד, עד כאן. So he's not saying who's saying this, but one of the Hakhamim is telling you, even though I came up with this decision that it's okay, I sent a letter to three of the greatest rabbis in Europe, European. So I'm guessing it must have been from Rabbi Abraham Halachi, because he wasn't dealing with, with process as much. And he sent a question to the rabbis in Europe, three great rabbis, he doesn't say their names, to ask them about this whole situation. And they all said that the practice, the custom, is that they wear such medallions and they wear, cross around their neck, because this is something that is a sign of honor from the kingdom. And it's something that you wear. But they also recommended, okay, you're going in this, you don't have to wear it all the time. You're going in to see the king, you put it on. When you leave, take it off. Okay? אמנם בשל התשובות ערוות הבושם נשאל גם כן בזה, ומתחילה כתב שאין בזה כל חשש, על פי דברי הרמה בהגהה הנ"ל, בסורה שנעשית רק לנעול וזיכרון, וכל שכן המדליה שנעשית רק לכבד בה אנשים מסוימים לימי מעלה. Again, it brings us another source, tells us the same thing. ושוב נסתפק שמא יש לאסור משום חשדה, כעין מה שכתב הרמה בהגהה. But then, of course, as time goes on, people say, well, maybe you shouldn't, even though it's permissible. People start having doubts. They start doubting their own decisions. Okay, but in the end, obviously, it still tells you it's mutar. שהמושג כלים שיש עליהם סורת חמה ולבנה וכדומה, אף על פי שמותרים בהנאה, שאין דרך הגויים בזמן הזה לעבוד סורת אלו, בכל מקום אין להשעותה. Let's say you have a cup, okay? Or a plate, then it has a picture of the sun or the moon or the stars. They used to be forms of Avodah Zarah. People used to worship them. We know they're not worshiping them now, and we know it wasn't made for worshiping. You're not going to have these items in your house anymore. You're not going to use them anymore. It's the same thing. If it's something that's mutar, you have to deal with reality. בכל מקום אין השותן, וכן העלה בסוף דבריו להחמיר על אשייתן, אלא אם כן ישחיל צורתן. אבל אין דבריו מוכרחים להלכה, כי במדליה אין מקום לחשד שמא נעבדה קהילה כדברי האחרונים. But with this medallion, there is no reason to suspect that it was ever worshipped or created for worship. וכן פסק להקל הרב הגאון רבי יצחק רפאל אשכנזי, מרבני איטליה. So Rabbi Ashkenazi from the Italian rabbis, in his book Yuhah Ishaq says, he also relied on the Zira Emet, who said it was from Italy, Bishmael Kohen, and he allowed it. Now we come to the final closing part, and this is the part that was important to me. שהגאון הראשון לציון רבי יעקב מאיר דרך שריג לברכה קיבל מדליה זהב בצורת סלב והיה עונדה על חזהו לכבוד ותפארת בעת שהיה מבקר אצל הנציב העליון ואף הסתלם עם המדליה הזאת ואין ספק שהסתמך על דברי הפוסק הנ"ל וכן עיקר להלכה על מעשה. So we know prior to Hakham Obadiah Yosef, the Rishon LeSion was Rabbi Uziel. Before Rabbi Uziel, there was another rabbi, Rabbi Yaaqob Meir. Rabbi Yaaqob Meir is somebody that was appointed as chief rabbi. Then there was a mutiny against him. They threw him out, not only out of his position, but basically out of Eretz Israel. He became chief rabbi, I believe, in Salonika, in Greece. And then eventually he came back to Israel and he was reinstated as the Rishon LeSion. Okay? But people always were murmuring about him. The guy's no good. The guy, he's on the wrong side. He has connections to Christianity. Why? He always wore his big, beautiful cross. It's medallion.
And you have a picture.
I have a picture. I'm bringing it around right now.
I'd like to see one. I'd like to see one.
Huh? He wore it all the time. Anytime he was dressed up. Here you go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow. It's not the same.
Show it to the public. Higher. So,
Okay, it's right over there. It's not the same in what's
Looks
that?
like the German,
Can I see it? Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like a
Like the
German
German
cross.
cross.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's above it, maybe.
Oh, you can see inside. There's a
I love
no
it.
other picture. You can look online.
I love his hat.
You can see. You love his hat.
Good.
Now, obviously, this is something that you would expect a Hakham would know if it's mutar or not mutar to it. But people love to, attack without knowing, without realizing the truth of the emet. Now, even somebody as considered as mahmir, okay, as the Ben Ish Hai, also deals with this question. In the Ben Ish Hai, the second year of halachot, which most people never get to for whatever reason, okay, Shana Shiniyah, okay, Shana Rishon, everybody knows the common halachot, but Shana Shiniyah, people don't get to.
Who reinstated it?
Hmm?
Who reinstated it?
The community.
The Israeli community?
It's not Israeli. It wasn't Israeli yet.
Oh, what?
We're talking about Palestine. We're talking about,
Oh,
okay, we're talking about 1930.
some over there doesn't have a problem? Oh, wasn't around at the time, sorry. It was much earlier.
How many years was a
Oh,
kid?
was kid, yeah.
How many years was a kid? No, he had no problem with him. But even here, you'll see at the end of the Teshuvah that we just read, he refers to him in very, very honorable terms. What does he say exactly? Hakham Obadiah Yosef, when talking about him over here. Here, look. וידוע ומפורסם מעשה רב הזה שהגאון, הגאון, ראשון לציון, רבי יעקב מאיר, זכר צדיק לברכה. So Hakham Obadiah Yosef, shows him the proper respect and obviously realizes that he's a great Hakham, and as such, we're dealing with a situation where if somebody did that today, most people will be, up in arms. What's going on? But so I'm saying the Ben Ish Hai, even though Hakham Obadiah Yosef does not quote him over here, it's right here in Ben Ish Hai, in Shana Shiniyah, in Parashat Mas'ud, in the halachot of Avodah Zarah. Okay? And he says it. Look at halacha Gimel. בזמן הקודם היו אדוקים בעבודה זרה. In previous generations, people really clung, tightly to עבודה זרה. והיו חוקקים סורות עבודה זרה על כלי תשמישם. And they used to engrave all different forms of עבודה זרה, into their garments, into their vessels. והיו עובדים לאותם הסורות. They used to worship these images. ולכן כלים המקובלים של זמן הקודם. So therefore, if you have any sort of vessels from earlier days, whether it's jewels or or fine silk garments, that you find these forms on them, They were most probably made for the sake of Avodah Zarah, and you're not allowed to have any enjoyment from them. About Karim Hambuzim, but simple, everyday things. Spoons and forks, you know, if you have any sort of images on them, because people don't worship the spoons and forks. Obviously, they didn't put on them to worship them. And these forms that are found on the coins. Therefore, if you have a coin with a cross or any form of Avodah Zarah, you can use it. Okay, you have a Buddha on a coin. They don't put in Buddha to worship him on the coin. And he goes on and on. He even mentions afterwards about what he called about the cross. This we're talking about the old days when they were, really tied into Avodah Zarah. Nowadays, people aren't tied into the religion as before. Therefore, regarding a cross that they have nowadays, the ones that they put inside, their sanctuaries, inside the church, and they honor it and they bow down to it. This is Avodah Zarah Mamash. This is pure Avodah Zarah. But the crosses they put on vessels, on clothing, on hats, on cups and shirts, or the picture they put of Virgin Mary, nursing her son. Even if they put him on, something of value, they go on even on jewelry. They're only doing it for decorative purposes. Okay, they don't worship such things. You can get hanna'a, you could get pleasure, you could get enjoyment from them, you could deal, in such things, technically, make a business out of it. Okay? But if they're images that stick out, then you can't have such things like that. We're talking about, like the people. Whether it's him, his mother, whatever, but for the cross itself, he doesn't seem to have a problem with it at all. He talks about it again and again in various halachot over there. So this was the topic of tonight. Simple. We kept it early. We ended early. That's what we wanted to do. But we really need to get into a rhythm. We need to get into more serious study. I don't like Zoom either. I want to do it in person.
You hear that, everybody?
Okay.
In person.
So we see Dr. Glaze is there. Okay, we see Nisim Cohen is here, Joey Shrem. Whoever else is out there? Ezra, Ralph Batesh. We got to have Jeffrey Dweck. We have to have class in person. We have to figure out a way to make this happen. We have to figure out, to do it on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. If we have to start a little bit earlier, a little bit later, we all need to make the effort. If we need to do it less often, if once a week is too much, we want to do it once every 2 weeks for everybody to commit. Let's try to do it.
8:30 to 9:30.
We could try. We could try, but a lot of times we're not going to be able to cover the whole entire topic, and we're going to have to, take a topic and break it into a few different weeks. Okay. Okay, there's topics that I have in mind. There's topics that you may have in mind. Let me know. Okay, let's work on this. Let's try to make this happen soon. No, I don't want to stop the recording. I want the recording to keep going on. It's also I started with Hakham Obadiah Yosef tonight because I think it's important to admit that Hakham Obadiah Yosef has definitely shaped much of our present day halacha, and he's been a major force and a guiding light in halacha the last 40 years at least.
okay? The thing is, he also changed things. And even though in the past we've focused on certain things that he's changed, I need to get back into that again because they're topics that come up again and again and again. There are things that we've had class in smaller settings that we never recorded. We need to get to those as well. We have to see what he changed, why he changed it, the effects of it today, and how we could possibly bring things back to where they were. Different things related to not only to halakha, related to minhagim as well, how other Hachamim viewed things, how Hachamim were afraid to open up their mouths because of Hakham Obadiah Yosef, and only after his passing, various Hachamim started speaking up. They're writing books, they're talking, even though there were pipsqueaks when he was, doing things. They, obviously they weren't involved. But there's a lot, to discuss over here. There's also issues that come up on a regular basis. Okay, obviously none of us are wearing crosses. None of us care about this topic. I just wanted to show it because we had a great Hakham Yaaqob Meir that people don't know about, that people belittled, and people still make fun of till today because he wears that. So many pictures you see of him wearing that cross. Our Hachamim knew what they were doing. Okay, we may not like it today because it doesn't fit into what we think of Judaism. But they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew the halakha, and they knew the ins and outs. We have to respect them for it. And we need to go back to the ways of our Hachamim to respect the halakha and respect its role in the world today. Because we cannot live in today's world in thinking that we're in a bubble with another bubble with another bubble. It doesn't work like that. If Am Yisrael is supposed to be a light to all the nations, we have to be involved with the nations. We have to be involved in society. We can't say that we're not part of society. It just doesn't work. Okay? Israel is growing. Society over there is growing. It's part of the infrastructure of the entire world. The world cannot exist without everything that's coming out of Eretz Yisrael, out of medallion. The Hachamim have dealt with it. The Torah deals with it. The Halakha deals with it. We need to start touching upon many aspects, many halachot that we've never touched upon. This parasha this week, Parashat Mishpatim, so many halachot, especially in issues, monetary halachot. Okay, we have banking systems today. We have different forms of business today. All these things have halachot that we have to, try to start addressing. So I hope we'll be able to do this together. And I'm open to any comments, suggestions, and topics. Thank you.
It's good to be back in regular